They said you are dead. Wake up, let's go home. I said, but you just dropped me at home 2 hours ago. Hi guys, welcome back. So when I when I answered my husband's friend's call, the next thing he said was, Ugo, start running to Golden Cross now. They said something has happened to Ike. I'm like, how? I said, okay. Mind you, that my husband's friend had moved to the island that day and I didn't even know. Like I wasn't even aware they had moved that day. So none of his club members had my number and the only person they could reach out to was Chidi, and the Chidi guy called me. So immediately I put a call across my mom and my sisters. I was like, you people see, oh, Ike want to put me in trouble. I just got a call now that Ike is in the hospital. So I dressed up. My family members were on the call with me. I managed to find my way to the hospital. When I got to the hospital, I saw his team members, about 15 of them outside. I was like, ah, ah. In my mind, the lot was just going through. I was not like, does it mean Ike broke a leg or a hand? I know they like Ike so much. My husband was a very quiet person, but he cracks jokes a lot. So people love him. He's a very lovable person. Okay, and I approached that his friend. I was like, please, where is my husband? He asked me to go inside. As I was going into the hospital, I looked back. Lo and behold, all of them were behind me. My mind flew. I said, why are they all behind me? It's the only leg that Ike broke. But Ike told me he wasn't going to play football on that day. So what now happened? I went into the hospital and I met with the doctor. I was not looking around. I was like, please, where did they place him? Because I felt like probably he broke a leg or something, even though he told me he wasn't going to play. So the doctor came out and I asked about my husband. The doctor gave me this pity look, like, oh my God, she's so young. I was like, please. I asked again, please, where is my husband? So one of my husband's friends now told the doctor, please tell her what happened. I said, what happened? The doctor said, unfortunately, he was brought in dead. I said, eh? Who was brought in dead now? I don't get. He said, your husband. I said, okay. I did not cry. I did not scream. I said, please, where is he? They said he's in his car. I said, yeah, take me to my car. They took me there. I saw my husband's lifeless body. He was lying on his friend's body. His friend was carrying him on his lap. I touched him. I said, babe, I don't know what these people are saying. No, I don't understand. They said you are dead. Wake up, let's go home. I said, but you just dropped me at home 2 hours ago. What do they mean that you are dead? I don't understand. Please wake up, let's go home. Ikechukwu did not move. I turned to his friends. I said, what happened to my husband? They told me that they were all seated, cracking jokes. 2 days after, I even saw a video where he was yabbing one of his club members. So they were all seated, talking and laughing. Ikechukwu was cracking them up. And all of a sudden, after some time, he stood up and went to his car. He didn't come back. Not up until like after 45 minutes. I think he blocked somebody. So the person went to the car and looked and saw his head tilted like this. So the person went to call that his friend. He said, come o, e be like say your guy no dey okay. Then he went to the car. Upon arrival, he opened the door of the car and my husband fell off. All of them now, all the team members now rushed. They said they did CPR, but he was already gone. He went into his car and died. You can do this, Chibuko. I was confused. How? Ikechukwu wasn't sick. But before then, my husband has this strong allergy. When I met him, he told me he has allergy. He uses this Ventolin inhaler, right? And he was always taking azithromycin. He just said he had allergy. So they now said they rushed him to the first hospital, that they rejected him until they brought him to that second hospital. After they told me what happened, I went on Facebook. I played NSPPD. Fortunately for me, Papa Jerry was on live that day. I took my phone, I placed it on his chest. I told them, I said, let's go to another hospital. I am convinced that Ikechukwu is not dead. Maybe he's in coma, please. I left the phone on his chest. We headed to Navy Town Hospital in Satellite. Upon arrival, the doctors came and they still said this. After checking him, they said BID, brought in dead. I still could not find the tears. I did not want to give up. I exercised faith. I was patient with God. I said no, that I will wait. I left my phone on his chest. It got to a point, Papa Jerry even mentioned his case. He said, your husband will not die. I ran out of the car. I knelt down. I screamed, Amen. His club members were just looking at me that day in pity. I went to my husband. I was inside the car with him. I kept on talking to him. That period, my 3 children were sick and I left them at home with just my small girls. There was no way I could reach the girls to even know how the children were doing. I was so confused. My husband's big cousins were like, we should deposit him in the morgue. I refused. I said, I am still believing. I was pacing around the whole hospital environment, praying. I went down on my knees. I called God. I said, please, please, give Ike a second chance to life. Please, do this so that your name will be glorified. I waited. Ike became cold on me. Ike's legs stiffened. My late husband was 6'4", so they couldn't stretch his legs. They had to bend it. And after everything, they told me that they were going to break Ike's legs so that it can fit into the coffin. I kept on praying. I kept on believing. Around 3 o'clock, I was still pacing around. I was always going to the car at intervals, checking on him because I was pacing and praying. The conviction I needed just to be sure that my husband had gone came. There's this time I went back to the car to touch him. Immediately I touched him and I raised my hand. I saw blood. Blood was already coming out through his nose, which means his organs had packed up. I screamed. I ran to the entrance gate. I screamed. I still did not cry. I was just screaming. God. I said, Ike, so you finally left me and our children. I screamed, Ike, how do I do life alone with 3 children? Ike, how do I deal with Enzo all by myself? My late husband was the only one who had all the details about my special needs son. When I mean he's an ever-present, that he was always ready and willing to be in the hospital with Enzo. He was always the one taking Enzo to the hospital. I took permission from my in-laws, my husband's cousins. I was like, you know what? Please, can you people help me watch over my husband? Let me run and check up on my children that are still alive. I came back. When I came back, I was seated at this particular side of the bed at 4 o'clock a.m. I was looking through the window. I screamed, I cried. That was when it got dawned on me that I came home alone without my husband. Ah, that's where is that thing? We go be strong. I've done this for 1 year. So why am I tearing? After I came back, I checked on my children. I went back to the hospital. They refused to deposit him in the morgue. They asked us to get police reports. I was running around. Then my husband cousin and said he has somebody that we can call and arrange all those things so that we can move him straight to the village. While at the Navy hospital, it rained heavily that day. I was always going to the car where my husband was lying. I kept on checking on Ike, thinking Ike will wake up and he's banging at the door. We should open the door. Oh God. That morning, I went to check him. I saw his inhaler on the floor. Now, last year, my son Enzo was diagnosed of asthma. And the doctors told me that an asthma attack was what killed my husband. They said, if you're asthmatic and you do not go to the hospital for checkup, it will get to a point that the inhaler will fail you. So apparently, Ike's inhaler failed him. Ike left me and 3 children. Ike left me to do life alone. Ike left me with Enzo. How do I deal with being a widow and being a special needs mom? The whole of 2024, I was literally in the hospital with my special needs son. He was so attached to my late husband that 2 days after my husband's demise, this boy started falling sick. All through 2024, I spent millions in the hospital. I will lie if I say God hasn't been faithful to me or good to me. He came through for me in 2024. He gave me a platform that gave me a name. It gets tough sometimes because obviously I am the father now and the mother. Life is so unfair. Ikechukwu never mentioned to me that he was asthmatic. It was after his death I started hearing a couple of things from my in-laws. And I'm like, nobody even told me. I was busy fighting sugar and blood pressure, not knowing that there was something bigger that could take my husband's life. I do not joke with my husband's death. I always make sure I check his sugar and his blood pressure. He was never hypertensive, neither did he have sugar issues. I took care of my husband. I supported him. He supported me. He was my backup system. He was my confidant. He was my friend. After I lost Ikechukwu, I left every single human I called friend. And I decided to stay alone all by myself. The period I needed my friends, they were not there for me. I went through this whole thing alone, without a single friend by my side. But that's by the way. I am in a better place now. I am still healing. I know this wound will never close 100%, but I am finding my way around it. I am. All I want from people is to pray for myself and my children. Ask God for the strength to keep pushing because some days it gets tough. I embraced social media. Social media became I use social media as a coping mechanism. For one whole year, I made my husband stay relevant. A lot of people knows Ike Bobo today because of me. I was on TikTok and Facebook talking about my husband, posting him. He stayed relevant for a whole year. People knew him. I know he's so proud of me anywhere he is. I have fought battles and I am still standing tall and strong. Grief is so bad. It can either make or mar you. All I want from people is just your words of encouragement because it will suit my hurting soul. Life is so unfair. Life is so unfair. Yeah. Anyway, this is my story. And I hope I will remain on this space and I do not go anywhere. I have to live my life and hope for the best. It's okay. See you guys in my next video. Bye for now.